much. This is the University of California. He came back home just like you're doing today, looking to build something. And Cal, it's not going to be a linear journey. It's not always going to be perfect, but the landscape of college sports has changed so much, even in the short time since you departed from this university. So now you come back to a very different reality. And it's not just the storylines that we all know, like Bill Belichick is now coaching college football. Social media is different than what it was even in your time playing just 6-7 years ago.
Yep.
NIL, the opportunity to make a lot of money, and more so than I could certainly handle at that age. So there's a lot to get into. And as we recap what happened 13 days ago in this stadium against Duke, Cal came out, and there's no other way around it. They got punched in the mouth by an ACC opponent. They're 1-1 in the ACC. UNC comes in losing their own, a one and only conference game, I should say. But Cal got off to that roaring start offensively. This young quarterback, JKS, Jaren Kiave Sangupulatele, get used to saying the name. He came out and was sensational, but then protection started dropping a little bit. There were a couple of turnovers. Meanwhile, Duke just looked a lot more comfortable, and they go en route to a 45-21 victory with 38 unanswered points.
Yeah, tough one to watch, especially that second quarter. But, you saw flashes of why people got so excited the first few games of the season with Jaren Kiave Sangupulatele. I'm probably going to switch to Jaren or JKS, but I wanted to give it a practice. Been practicing all week. He looks so comfortable in the pocket, and it gets Cal fans real excited to watch him play. And, you see the dynamicism of the offense, right, in that first quarter against Duke. But you got to finish games, and Will Cox hit it in his presser talking about what they worked on during the bye week. And you saw a lot of things on tape where maybe a guy was missing a run fit, or an O-lineman may have gone to the wrong player in the blocking scheme. And what he said they worked on during the bye week was communication. So I expect to see less mental errors tonight. But, yeah, you see flashes, and you see why fans are so excited. And you hit the nail on the head. College football is going through this sea change right now with NIL and money and paying the players, and it's all great stuff. But, there's going to be a realignment coming. And what I'm really excited about is we have Ron Rivera and a chancellor, Rich Lyons, who is excited to invest in this program. And we're the number one public university in the world. There's no reason why our academics and our athletics can be top tier.
That's exactly what he said on the phone call with Cal Athletics, and they said, cool, you're hired. We love it. We love the energy. We're going to be out here all the way up until 6:30. Then we'll get it over to our Bud Light pregame show with Justin Allegri and Mike Pawlowski. And it's not just about previewing this game and the chance for Cal to win something. There's a chance for you all to win something out there. That's right. We're doing giveaways today. We got Pat's Trivia Corner coming up.
Oh, man.
We are doing a giveaway to the most fanatic fans. So super subjective criteria. All you got to do is just show that you're here to want it, and you're here for the Golden Bears on a little Friday night ESPN primetime slot. That is literally it. We will take care of it for you. And you mentioned Ron Rivera. I'm really excited that he's back with this program, and I'm really excited that we're going to have him as part of this countdown show. If you're watching us on YouTube, number one, subscribe to Cal Bears on YouTube. Number two, hit the like button because we all have fragile egos. And number three, you can literally see the countdown graphic right there in the top right corner. Hour 54 minutes and 20 seconds to go. And so it's going to be nothing but energy packing it in. We're going to do a little walk-on spotlight. We've got this whole thing planned out for you, and all you got to do is sit back and enjoy it. And what's really, really cool about having Patrick Laird present for this show is that he played in the NFL under a Bill Belichick disciple in Brian Flores, also had a stint with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and some guy named Tom Brady who was pretty good. But your coming out party here at this university was in Chapel Hill, and we were looking through some of those highlights, and we talked to Jim McGill of Bears Insider, and he's immediately said, you got to go back and clip that right away and just watch that touchdown. So take me back to that game over in Chapel Hill, because game days are such a sacred thing for a student athlete, and when you get to do it at home, it really doubles. But that one was over on the road. You start the season, and that was, as far as we were all concerned, the coming out party for one Patrick Laird.
Yeah, that was an awesome memory, and I was reflecting back on that as I was preparing for this show. And I was thinking back to that time. I literally just earned a scholarship like a week or two before that game. I was third string on the depth chart. I knew I was going to play a little bit. I had a lot of nerves, though, because that was my first game going in. And it's kind of similar to, honestly, I was feeling a lot of nerves before this. This is my first time doing something like this. And it's one of those things where, for me in football, just getting hit one time kind of settles the nerves. So, when we take our next break, maybe I'll have you, we can do a little one-on-one drill. You can tackle me to the ground, and I'll be able to settle in. But yeah, that was an amazing way to start Justin Wilcox's career here at Cal. We got a win at North Carolina. They were a good opponent at the time. And yeah, I think back on a lot of moments like that, and it's one of the reasons why I fell in love with this school, because a guy from a small town like Arroyo Grande, California, gets to walk on in the University of California, and it took me a few years, but eventually I got the shot when Justin Wilcox and his staff came to Cal. So real excited, and I'm pretty excited to see the game tonight, because I think we'll get into more football with Ron Rivera coming up. We'll get into some X's and O's and maybe the landscape of college football, and then we can do some more preview of UNC. But real excited to talk some more football going forward.
I don't think I'm going to be talked into the hit drill, but if everything goes really well, maybe at 6:30. I can't be messed up for the last 50 minutes, especially with Ron Rivera coming up. Before we get over to that, I wanted to bring up the quote I isolated from Justin Wilcox post-game media availability after Duke came in and had the 38 unanswered points. He said it pretty simple: we have to grow up. Mm-hmm. You played as a student athlete. You played in this program. When you hear something like "we have to grow up," what do you think of in terms of both on the field, off the field, how you prepare physically, mentally, and when you have an extra week to do it with the bye, how much more important does it become to maintain that focus?
Yeah, that really starts with the leaders in the locker room. You hear stories about some bye weeks. A lot of players will leave and go get in trouble, and Cal, no news stories of that popping up, thankfully. So they have good leaders in the locker room, starting with a guy like Cade Uluave, and that those guys were making sure they're showing up for treatment, showing up for workouts. And yeah, it's really, really important to take your bye week as serious as you take your game weeks, because that's where you start to recover and make sure that you can prepare for the second half of the season. So really excited to see them. Let's see if those practice drills and all that communication work translates to the game, and I'm sure it will. I have full confidence in the team. Yes, I know it's a young quarterback, right, a true freshman, but if you listen to him speak, he's saying all the stuff that you expect a fifth-year senior talking about. So I fully believe that these guys took the bye week seriously, and they're ready for this game tonight. And I want to go back to that point about, you talked about how I played under a disciple of Bill Belichick, Brian Flores, who is the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings now. He came down to Miami, and all we talked about week in, week out was situational, complementary football. So I know that the Tar Heels are going to be well-versed in all that, but I know that Justin Wilcox believes in the same thing. And, complementary situational football is what helps you win football games, especially in college football, when wild things can take place.
North Carolina has a lot of eyeballs on them, and it makes sense when the most accomplished coach in the history of professional football made a shocking move over to a college program in the ACC, and they're off to a bit of a struggling start. But with all that being said, and the Justin Wilcox quote we just got into about needing to grow up, Cal has to take care of their own business. There was not good enough protection. There was not good enough separation from the receivers. JKS is ultra talented, but also showed there in the last 2.5 quarters that there's a lot of room to learn and grow in all this. And so there's going to be no better person to talk about all of this with than Ron Rivera, which is coming up in just a bit. We are live from the Lisa and Douglas Goldman Plaza. It is the Cal Football Countdown Show. Lots of giveaways coming your way. Lots of great energy. And coming up next, we've got the general manager. Yeah, they do that for college programs now.
Yep.
Ron Rivera. We'll be back in a few moments. Welcome back to the Cal Football Countdown Show. We are live at the Lisa and Douglas Goldman Plaza, and it's time to welcome in our first guest. You can already see the fans filtering in. We got a giveaway for the most fanatic fan coming up, but it's time to welcome in the general manager of the California Golden Bears, among many other accomplishments here at this university and beyond. I'm talking about the one and only Rivera. We really appreciate your time. How are you?
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I know you've had to answer so many questions, some by my colleagues over at KNBR, about NIL, the transfer portal, all the changes in college football. I just want to simplify it even further. Why come back home to California, to the University of California, during this pivotal time of the changing landscape of college sports?
Well, probably a couple of reasons, but one of the main reasons was it was time. You know, Stephanie and I have been on the East Coast, we've been in the Midwest, but this first option we've had to come home, and she really felt it was time. Secondly, it is to give back to the university and try and see if we can get things straightened out and put the university in position to really be able to take the next step as an athletic department, as a program, and really help raise the profile of this university.
Awesome. Yeah. So you mentioned your wife, Stephanie. I'm reading a story about how the chancellor, Rich Lyons, texted her, and she said, call Ron.
Yeah.
Do you remember how that first conversation went, and are you willing to share a little background on that story?
Absolutely. You know, after the ESPN game day and after the victory at home against Stanford in the big game, he had come to the conclusion that he needed to hire a general manager. And so when he called me, that was the premise. He asked me, he said, Ron, I don't know a lot about the game of football, but what I'm looking for is an explanation as to what does a general manager do. So while we're talking, I'm explaining and trying to describe what a general manager did in the NFL and how that would relate to the college game. So I'm sitting here telling him all about this. In fact, I said, you know what? I'll write you a job description and send it to you. He said, sure, I might have a couple questions. So I write it out, I email it to him. He responds almost immediately the next day, and he sends all these questions, and so we have another conversation. Little did I know, he was actually basically working on what my job description was going to look like. So a couple of weeks go by, I go through this interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars, an interview with Liam Combs, who I really liked, and I come back afterwards, and he calls me, and we start talking, and he says, you know, Ron, I'm looking for a guy to come in and help us establish this program, reestablish this program. And I said, well, sure, what can I do? He said, well, you're the guy I'm looking for. I'd like to hire you. And I said, well, I got to finish this process out. So I go down, I interview with Liam Combs in person. I fly back, Stephanie and I go to dinner. We talk about it, and I said, well, what do you think? She goes, well, Ron, what do you think? I said, well, you know, I like Liam, I like the situation, you know, but, you know, she says, you're thinking about Cal? I said, yes. Well, then let's go home. And so that's how it all happened.
Awesome. And I know a lot of these fans around here are really excited to have you back. Yeah, you can hear the cheers. People are very excited to have you back on campus.
It is cool to be back on campus. It really is. And you know, there is so much potential here for growth. There really is. We saw what our capability is because of ESPN Game Day last year, and we've got to be able to capture that energy, that opportunity, and bring it back and have it every week. Mm-hmm. Every time we have a home game, we should have that kind of energy.
Yep.
Well, we're off to a pretty good start here, and it's only getting more and more full. So
what's crazy is down at the tailgate on the glade down there, it's packed. It really is. I just came from over here from Maxwell Field. That's packed as well. So there's some really cool areas and cool things that we're doing to try and get our fans engaged into the activities of what's happening here on game day.
Well, when you're here a couple of Saturdays ago, I was really impressed with how packed the student section was at the beginning and then stayed that way through all four quarters. Now, on that game right there, Cal got off to a phenomenal start, and then it was tough the way Duke adjusted. Their quarterback was comfortable. Ours was under pressure, and Duke ends up going for 38 unanswered points. And so the quote that we got into before you came over was Justin Wilcox after the game saying, we have to grow up. And I think about the position that some of these kids are in now with the ability to earn a lot of money and endorsements, the way that the internet and social media has grown even since the time that Patrick was a student athlete here. And so when you think about the head coach saying something like that, and also how these players can manage such a difficult situation at such a young age, what is your advice to them as someone who maybe didn't experience it yourself as a player, but you've been around this game a long, long time and understand the mental toughness aspect?
And that's exactly it. So it is about being mentally tough. And you understand that for the most part, knowing that when certain things happen, good things happen, bad things happen. Good things happen, you can't get too high. Bad things happen, you can't get too low. You got to almost anticipate those things happening. But the biggest thing is, what are you going to do about it? okay? Are you going to play to win, to finish the game out, or are you going to try not to lose? It's really about your mental frame of mind more than it is anything else. It's the way you perceive and look at things that where guys have to be mature about. And that's what I think Coach was trying to get across, is that, guys, bad things are going to happen, but you can stop the avalanche, okay? You can bow up and be strong about it and make something happen. Don't wait for somebody else to make something happen. You go out and be that guy. It's okay to be the stir that stirs the drink. It's okay to be that stick. So let's get it done. Let's be somebody that's go out and make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, this reminds me of I don't know if anybody around here in the crowd, I'm sure we got some Calgorithm participators around here. One of your speeches recently went viral, and you fired everybody up making that sales pitch. Just because we haven't had a 8+, 9+ win season in a long time doesn't mean it always has to be that way, right? Yeah. And we finally have a chancellor, a GM, a head coach, all on the same page. I mean, this is the #1 public university in the world. Why can't we have our academics and our athletics match each other and be prestigious and both be great? And we're so excited to have a GM that sees that and I want to talk a little bit about, I know you're asked all the time about QB retention, but I want to just talk about whole team retention, because when I think about my time in the NFL and my time playing here at Cal, I mean, the O-line communication, it's a separate language that, I mean, people behind the scenes don't even know. And so if you try to just pay a bunch of guys a ton of money and get a ton of talent in and they all show up in fall camp, you could have the most talented O-line, but if there's a cohesive O-line on the other side, they're going to outplay those guys. So how do we have continuity, retention across the board?
And that's probably one of the more important things, positions that you really have to talk about. You know this. Football is a quarterback-geared position, okay? It is led by the quarterback. You have to protect him, you have to put playmakers around him, and you have to have a complementary defense. That's really the vision that I see more so than anything else. That's the thing that we talk about in our personnel grouping all the time. We talk about how important it is to have that protection for the quarterback. You know who your guy is, you identified him, well, protect him, and that's what we try to do. But the hard part is exactly what you said. The problem was 2 portals last year. January and then at the end of the spring, okay? We had it went from May to June, okay? And when you pull that group of guys out, now you've got to get them ready and go, oh, guess what happened? Spring ball's over. You don't get to work with these guys. You don't get to coach these guys anymore until training camp. So the first time coaches got their hands on them was when we got into training camp. Now you're trying to get these guys to become cohesive, to become a unit. And when certain things happen and we do those things right, we see what their possibilities are, what they're capable of. That's where we got to get to, is a consistent play. That's the other thing Coach was talking about, was let's be consistent. Let's understand how important it is to be a cohesive unit. We step together. We slide together. We work hip to hip on our doubles, working up to the next level.
Yep.
Understanding how to push each other through. That's the thing that these guys have got to spend a little extra time, a little more time, and that's what he's been demanding from these guys.
Ron, we're so grateful for your time and your full-blown media tour that you seem to be doing here as we promote Cal going up against UNC. I'll leave you with this one. You come back, there are all these goals. There are goals for this year. There's goals for what you want it to look like in 3 years. We're building something on our own tonight, and we got a bunch of fans filing through. What's your goal for tonight with Cal taking on Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Heels?
I think as you look at each facet of the game, you look at special teams as be consistent, get positive yardage for us as far as starting position, and be negative for them as far as their starting positions. You look at defense, hey, let's take the football away. Let's create positive starting position for our offense, and let's don't give up any big plays. Let's be disciplined. And then offense, be consistent, be consistent, be consistent at every position, okay? Block, protect the quarterback, give him enough time, run the ball consistently, create the opportunity for us to go play action. And then if I'm a receiver, get myself in position to make big plays. I mean, this is the type of game that we have to be able to step up and be, as Coach said, mature. We have to grow up.
Well, he knows a thing or two about pro football, and we're going to spend some time talking about our pro Bears coming up in a bit. Thanks so much for your time. Right. Go Bears.
Appreciate it. Go Bears. Thanks,
Go Bears.
Greg.
Ron Rivera, the general manager of Cal football. That is our State of the Program presented by Trumer Pills. Trumer Pills, the perfect pills, calls Berkeley home. I'll give a little bit of a toast to that. Well, I don't know why ours are different colors. They're trying to give us a different taste. But anyway, quick cheers. Ah, delicious. Coming on back, let's get into the pro Bears, because even as recently as last night, the 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers, he's still got it with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll be back on the Cal Football Countdown Show.
You bring your curiosity, your ambition, your spirit to Berkeley to be an AI machine learning, twisting, turning, flipping, video game soundtrack performer. A student of human rights strengthening, sustainable architecting, quantum science pioneers. A member of solar car designing and racing, community-driven student farming, football team rousing communities. You bring your whole self to Berkeley to be a part of the greatest public university.
Back here at the Lisa and Douglas Goldman Plaza, it is the Cal Football Countdown Show. Greg Silver, Patrick Laird here as Cal gets ready to take on UNC. Sun's finally coming down here on this beautiful view. I feel like I can actually see in a weird way now with these glasses. Yep. Anyway, that was our state of the program, and it was fantastic to have Ron Rivera come by. Like you, he was inspired to come home, and I'm very appreciative of both of those. But now here with the Pro Bears, a little bit of pro ball talk because, Cal, they try to ball out on Saturdays, but you've done it yourself. They ball out on Sundays. You were in the NFL. You played under Brian Flores and with Tom Brady. And our segment on the Pro Bears is presented by BearInsider.com. BearInsider.com, your number one stop for Cal athletics content. Don't go anywhere if you're hanging around. We got giveaways coming. We got the most fanatic fan. We've got Pat's Trivia Corner. Basically, a lot of ways to win free things. I mean, that's just putting it simply, and who doesn't like free things?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Still a little nervous about the trivia. We got some fans filtering in. If you guys stick around, you might get picked to compete in trivia against me. But yeah, let's talk some Pro Bears. I guess we could talk maybe last night. Aaron Rodgers participating in what some people were calling the Icy Hot Bowl. I spent some time in NFL locker room, and it seems like the older you got, the more likely you were to put on some Icy Hot before practice or a game. So I understood that, and I only played 5 years, but that's for me that added a lot of toll to my body, and I started to do some Icy Hot. So if Aaron Rodgers is still playing at 40 plus years old, he can use all the Icy Hot he wants. That is not the diss that a lot of people would think it is. But yeah, were you watching that game?
Of course, yeah. I was watching the Unction or the Icy Hot Bowl or whatever nickname you want to give it for a 40-year-old Joe Flacco who was traded within his division going up against Aaron Rodgers, who turns out might not actually be that washed. It just might be that if you get farther away from the New York Jets, good things happen. I'm sorry to take a shot. It's just that I got to go off of the information I have here. Aaron Rodgers, he has 4 successful Hail Marys in his career, and he attempted that one last night. Now, it got knocked down by Cincinnati's defense, but that went 69.8 yards in the air. That was the longest pass in the air going back to 2017. So, yeah, maybe the Achilles impacted him. Maybe the mobility is not what it used to be. But if we're talking about the brains, the throws he could still make, and the instincts for the game, you don't want to underestimate people, and you know that as well as anyone having played in this league. Yeah.
I am no quarterback evaluator at all, but when he throws the football, it looks nice. Whatever throwing motion he has, that's textbook, I would imagine. But, yeah, it's one of those things. I was watching that game last night with my sister and my mom, and they thought the game's over. I'm like, this Aaron Rodgers guy, you never know. And, I mean, when he started, he rolled out, did this little reverse rollout to the left, kind of did that hop and throw. I'm like, why is he going so far back? But he knew how far you can throw it, and that's very impressive. Young guys across, the league can't make that throw, and he's been doing it for, a very long time and can still throw the football.
Cal had a bye last week, so we also didn't get the chance to congratulate Keenan Allen on becoming the fastest player to reach 1,000 career receptions. Really cool to see this revival here for Keenan Allen playing with the Chargers, where he was for the entirety of his career, then goes 1 year to Chicago. That whole thing was kind of a mess in and of itself last year, and he didn't have the best statistics, but then he comes back to his old home. Now you got this young quarterback in Justin Herbert who, I mean, my goodness. The offensive line, they've had their 2 best tackles out. Joe Alt might be coming back at some point, but still with the physical ability of him to make plays, I think it's understandable why Keenan Allen has had a bit of a revival himself when you got a young quarterback like Justin Herbert throwing you the ball.
Yeah. Getting to 1,000 receptions in a career is an insane accomplishment, but not surprised that a guy like Keenan Allen is the youngest to ever do it. And then, like you said, Justin Herbert, a great quarterback. Oregon is not in the ACC competing against Cal every year, so we can be complimentary of him. And I think family friend of Justin Wilcox, Justin Herbert. But yeah, it's more fun when the AFC West is a competitive division. Nobody wants to see the Chiefs win every single year, the AFC West.
Let's talk about the Chiefs for a moment, because they started 0-2, and when you play games at Arrowhead that seem big, Patrick Mahomes seems to find a way to win those games almost every time. They welcomed in the Detroit Lions and Jared Goff, and right off the bat, we got a little bit of a controversial penalty. The best quarterback on the Lions is Jared Goff. The second best quarterback might be running back David Montgomery with all the trick plays they like to run. He throws a touchdown to Jared Goff. Looks like everything is good. The Lions are taking an early lead, and then tick, 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 tick. Late flag comes in with a little bit of, was it an illegal shift was the technicality on that one? Yeah, what'd you make of that whole ordeal?
Yeah, it's interesting. And, it's weird that the flag came in so late, right? And one of the referees, and this is interesting for me because, it's kind of drilled into you when you're in the NFL. You can't criticize the refs publicly, but since my playing days are over, I guess I can now comment on this. And so I'm maybe uncomfortable doing this. But, it was interesting because the refs saying one thing, Dan Campbell saying another. I don't know. Dan Campbell seems like a high-integrity guy. He heard that the call, the penalty came in from New York, and then the referee is telling the reporter. So maybe there was just a miscommunication somewhere along the line. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, even if that is a rule, it's not like Jared went under center. It seems like it would be okay for a quarterback to step up. If he doesn't act like a quarterback, I think that's something in the rule, and he can go in motion. He doesn't have to stop for a second. But that's one of those things where we were talking situational football earlier. Situational football means understanding the rules, and I'm sure the Lions will be drilling that, and they know the rules going forward, as well as everybody across the NFL.
I'll say this as a lifelong spectator who didn't play in the NFL. The fact that the flag-in came in that late, I can understand why it was a horrible product on television. So, not that you need our permission on the Cal Football Countdown Show, but if the Golden Bears receive a penalty within 45 to 70 seconds after the play is over tonight, I think you should go full boo here in the crowd and let the officiating crew hear that. And hopefully that's a scenario that they don't even have to face. So that's our little segment on the Pro Bears. I will say something nice about Kansas City. Rookie and Golden Bear Noel Williams off to a terrific start, as well as Teddy Buchanan for the Ravens too. So we'll see some guys tonight who will end up playing on Sundays as well.
For sure.
And we'll be back here on the Lisa and Douglas Goldman Plaza with a lot of giveaways to come on the Cal Football Countdown Show.
You bring your curiosity, your ambition, your spirit to Berkeley. To be an AI machine learning, twisting, turning, flipping, video game soundtrack performer. A student of human rights strengthening, sustainable architecting, quantum science pioneers. A member of solar car designing and racing, community-driven student farming, football team rousing communities. You bring your whole self to Berkeley to be a part of the greatest public university.
Back here for the Cal Football Countdown Show. We've got some giveaways coming your way. We've got features. We had an interview with Ron Rivera. We're getting ready for all things Cal, North Carolina, and 7:30 kickoff here. We'll be taking this right up to 6:30 and having a blast doing so. Already over halfway through. It flies when you're having fun, and it also flies, so don't miss your opportunity to get some wins and some giveaways. I like the energy, what I'm seeing, but I think it could also be ticked up a couple of notches, and people are going to be filtering in coming up in a bit. So we got through all the Pro Bears, and we didn't mention 49ers tight end Jake Tonjes, who has done a fantastic job filling in on the receiving end after George Kittle went out a quarter and a half into the season. But we're going to do a little feature here, which is the walk-on spotlight, because it doesn't matter how you start, matters how you impact it when you get on the field, and you know that better than anyone.
Yeah, thank you for teeing that up, master class, and bringing up Jake Tonjes, former tight end that I played with here at Cal, and I had the opportunity to go on and play, and I had a couple guys older than me say, hey, I think you have a shot to play in the NFL, and no one had ever told me that before, so whenever I came back, I made sure to talk to walk-ons like Jake Tonjes and said, hey, I believe that you can make it in the NFL, and just with a guy like George Kittle going down, someone has to step up. That was Tonjes, and that was amazing to see. He's about to have a long, productive career, and I'm really excited for him. And another guy that I actually believe can play in the NFL that I want to highlight this week is Tron Grizzell.
Okay.
He is. I had the chance to sit down with him and to hear more of his backstory. And this is a guy that kind of barely snuck in as a preferred walk-on here at Cal. It was during that COVID. The time between 2020 and 2021 with COVID going on, it was hard for him to get recruited. You talk about the sacrifice that walk-ons have to make sometimes, but the parents are making a sacrifice as well. And so he told an incredible story. He moved from Southern California to Utah to continue his high school playing career. And his parents sold a condo that they had in order to buy a home in Utah. And I just thought the sacrifice from his parents shows that, and then when I sat down with him, I realized, these parents raised a great kid. But besides just being a solid human being, he's a real solid football player, big game hero of 2023. And when he entered the game last week, he was tied for second in NCAA with contested catches. So let's roll the tape, and I can talk a little bit about Tron Grizzell and his ability to catch contested balls. So right here is interesting. This is like a little cover 2 simulated pressure. You can see that corner coming off the edge. And what I love about JKS, he can just stand in the pocket, and when he notices a blitz coming, so that's a simulated pressure where they're only actually sending 4 people, so that DN dropped out and the corner came off the edge. JKS is not scared. Watch that corner come. He says, all right, you're sending the pressure my way. I'm going to throw it right at you, and that's called a honey hole shot. Tron Grizzell knows that safety's right there. He knows he's just about to get hit, but he steps in, he's smart, he's tough, and he secures this catch. And here's what went well in this game, right? When JKS and the Cal Bears could spread the ball around, they were able to drive down the field, and they avoided some mistakes. So here is another one. Look at Tron at the bottom of the screen. He just pushes that corner off of him, goes up, shows why he's tied for second in the NCAA with contested catches. Maybe after this, he maybe went into first. But I'm real impressed with this guy. Like you said, walk-ons can have a huge impact. Ron and Justin Wilcox have talked about how they want to keep the walk-on program going, right? Some universities are getting rid of walk-ons. They're just going to go, hey, we're going to pay every guy, every 105 player a scholarship. Some are saying we're not even going to focus on it. It makes sense to me, right? We have so many examples. Ashton Davis, another Cal Bear, playing for the Miami Dolphins now, walk-on. He's a walk-on that he got into the school, had to beg them for a tryout, and finally he gets a tryout, and now he's playing, I think, in his 6th or 7th year in the NFL. Tron Grizzell, I do believe, he's tall, he's a hard worker. I heard stories about him, sneaking in as a walk-on, basically. And here's a small world story, actually. One of my roommates in college was a director of recruiting communications here. Yeah, Brendan McInerney. I live with this guy. He used to coach Tron Grizzell when Tron was just 7 to 10 years old, tennis, down in Southern California. Yeah, so he's flipping. So Brendan McInerney and I lived together in college. He stays on after he graduates, rises up in Cal football recruiting. He's flipping through some of these potential recruits, and he sees Tron Grizzell. And he reaches out to him. He said, are you the same kid that I was coaching tennis when you were just 7 to 8 years old? And Tron replied, and they started talking, and they worked together, and they got him here in the spring of 2020. I'm stoked to see that Cal is keeping the walk-on program going, and we're going to get great players like Tron Grizzell.
Well, the cool thing about how many walk-ons are successful here is that we can have a walk-on spotlight feature as we continue with all these shows. First of all, that was fun. It's like I liked going to class, and now I'm concerned that something might be wrong with my brain chemistry because all I got to do was sit back in the film room and enjoy that lesson there from Patrick Laird. And so, it's funny when you think about the contested catches. First of all, tie goes to the runner. In baseball, tie goes to the offense when it's a simultaneous possession right there on the play you saw with Duke. So we'll keep this moving, and enough of us talking. I want to get some fan involvement in a segment. Pat's Trivia Corner coming up next. I get the easy job of reading facts. You get to try to beat Patrick Laird. We'll be back. Cal Football Countdown Show continues.
You bring your curiosity, your ambition, your spirit to Berkeley. To be an AI machine learning, twisting, turning, flipping, video game soundtrack performer. A student of human rights strengthening, sustainable architecting, quantum science pioneers. A member of solar car designing and racing, community-driven student farming, football team rousing communities. You bring your whole self to Berkeley to be a part of the greatest public university.
Back out at the Plaza for the Cal Football Countdown Show. It's the Golden Bears going up against the UNC Tar Heels. And we've got our good friend James here with us. James, by the way, he's not just in contention for our most fanatic fan. He was actually here for the very first show 13 days ago. So great to see you again, and thanks for participating. You ready for Pat's Trivia Corner?
I'm ready.
All right, this is fantastic. So we've got James here in attendance. He's competing with Patrick Laird, and the prize at hand is a Cal swag pack. This is all brought to you by Visit Berkeley. Berkeley, a beacon of the Bay, and you, anyone out there, could compete next time if you come out to the Plaza when Cal takes on Virginia. All right, first one. Let's go with James because this is a gimme for Patrick. I'm not giving him a head start on that. Who was Cal's starting quarterback the last time that the Golden Bears played North Carolina? All right, you want to relay this one to Patrick?
Ross Bowers.
Ross Bowers, it is.
I remember he did the flip.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Ross
The
Bowers.
infamous
All right. Second one, James. How many interceptions does Zeke Masses have this season?
4.
4 it is. He is tied for second in the nation. Okay, this one I will go to Patrick because it's a two-parter, and maybe I'll have James answer the second part. Besides JKS, who was the only other true freshman to start at quarterback in a season opener for Cal?
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff, it is, the aforementioned Pro Bear for the Lions. That year was 2013. All right, I'll have you both answer this one. Cal lost that game 44-30 to Northwestern here in this stadium. Trevor Siemian and Northwestern outlasted Goff's Golden Bears. How many yards did Jared Goff throw for in his Cal debut?
474.
I'm going to go 275.
Wow. So 474 and 275. One of you is a lot closer than the other. Jared Goff threw 64 passes in that game. So the answer is 450. Point goes to James. Congratulations there. All right, last
Sorry, Jared.
one. Last one, and we'll also have you both take a stab at this one. How many years old did Oski turn this year?
Oh, I think we're both going for this one.
Both going for it.
I'm going to
80.
I'm going to see. I'm going to 84.
84?
I'm going to go 82. I was thinking
82. All right, we can take some answers from the crowd. Just shout it out. What do you think? Here's some 70s. Okay. So this is crazy. One of them is actually correct. The answer is 84. Congratulations, James. Give it up for James.
James, that was awesome. That was incredible that you got that right on the
84
mark.
years old for Oski. I would not have been anywhere close to that. I think I would have overthought it and probably guessed somewhere closer to Jared Goff's passing yards in his debut, around 450, something like
Well, I
that.
remember they said he came because they used to use live mascots, and then he debuted, I think, at a freshman rally is what it was.
Wow.
See, this is why you pay attention in life, and something that I need to get better at in general. Appreciate James hanging out with us for Pat's Trivia Corner. He wins a Cal swag pack, and if you want to be a winner next time, all you got to do is just hang out at the Plaza, show up early, be energetic, be fanatic, wave at the camera just like we got some of you doing right here. And James, congratulations. Go claim that prize.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, James.
That was Pat's Trivia Corner. This is the Cal Football Countdown Show. We're getting ready to take on North Carolina. And so coming up, we've got some players to watch. And then we're getting ready to award our most fanatic fans. So if you haven't let the energy loose, this would be a good time to start it going, because all you got to do is just show some passion, and you got a chance to win prizes just like James did right there. We are live at the Lisa and Douglas Goldman Plaza. We'll be back after these messages.
You bring your curiosity, your ambition, your spirit to Berkeley. To be an AI machine learning, twisting, turning, flipping, video game soundtrack performer. A student of human rights strengthening, sustainable architecting, quantum science pioneers. A member of solar car designing and racing, community-driven student farming, football team rousing communities. You bring your whole self to Berkeley to be a part of the greatest public university.
The sun is going down, the view is getting even better, and pretty soon it's going to be dark, and it's going to be Friday Night Lights. ESPN right here, Cal, North Carolina, ACC clash, which, yeah, it still gets weird kind of saying it, but we got a lot of changes in college football, people coming back to their home. Ron Rivera was on with us. Patrick Laird is here and will be for the rest of the season right here on the Plaza, so let's get right into it. We got into the Duke game. We got into Cal looking to bounce back, and if they don't take care of business, I don't care what struggles North Carolina has. This is all about the mental preparation.
Yep.
There are a lot of different players to watch, but let's single out one in particular that could be a difference maker in this game. Who do you got based on the way Cal has started this season?
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit earlier. When Cal is spreading the ball around on offense, they are able to move the ball down the field. If we only have a couple receiver threats or go to one guy out of the backfield, that's when drives are stalled. So I am looking for other receivers to step up. I'm thinking of a guy like Jordan King this game. He had a couple really nice catches in the game versus Duke. And so I am looking for him to improve and help the offense this year. And fun fact about Jordan King, named after Michael Jordan, his dad runs the Nike brand, or sorry, the Jordan brand at Nike. So he has a little UNC connection.
That's a little too much UNC for this one.
I am positive. He's actually another walk-on. He is all in on the Cal Bears tonight, and I bet his dad is as well. So we have some tape to roll on his plays that were instrumental. Here is the first touchdown of the game when everybody was very excited. So this is an interesting one. What I like to point out is there's a lot of communication before this play. So they're on the goal line. They just drove it down. Jordan King is standing there with a couple other players, and they're saying, hey, I got to block that guy. I got to block this guy. You can see him talking right before with to Jesus. Look at them. Hey, I got to block him. No, I'm blocking him. So now you see the linebacker step up. They think it's a run. Jordan King slides across. Duke messes up the zone, and he gets in the end zone. And then I talked about a walk-on, Tron Grizel, good with contested catches. Jordan King is another guy that is smart and tough. You can see it right here on this play. Here's another one. Pressure from the right.
Oh, what a pass.
Amazing throw from JKS. Like I said earlier, when pressure's coming his way, he is not scared. He does not play like a true freshman. He stands in the pocket. He says, hey, you want to bring pressure that way? I know a void. See 34 getting out a little late. And then right here, 24 being a little too aggressive. Believe he got kicked out of the game there. We got to be more safe in football if we want this game to continue. Those plays need to be taken out of the game, and he was taken out of the game right there. But shout out to Jordan King. That is just an incredible catch, and we need more of that from him and the rest of the receiving core. We can't just have one or two guys catching the football. You need 3 or 4 tight ends, running backs, receivers.
All right, quick question for a follow-up as I get all nerdy on this film breakdown. JKS on the touchdown, let that play develop for a while. Is that because that was the way the play was breaking down and he was the first read, or was he going through the progressions and Jordan King wasn't even the primary?
I mean, that's the interesting thing about football. It's like chess with live moving pieces, and the rules can all change. It's like playing with chess, and the pieces can do different things each time. And so, yeah, he might have had a different read, and actually he had sent the running back in motion before to recognize whether it was man or zone, and Duke actually hit it pretty well. I was watching that. I was like, I'm kind of surprised that JKS was able to recognize that. But, you know, what I said before, he's mature, he's smart, he's confident, he's willing to stay in the pocket, and if you bring pressure his way, that is not fazing him. Right? I mean, and they did a lot of simulated pressures that game thinking, hey, this is a true freshman. He won't be able to handle it. He handled it pretty well, but we need the rest of the team to step up and support him.
All right, so Pat's player to watch, Jordan King, wears number 4. So everybody memorize that one when he gets into the end zone tonight and makes some big plays. It's time when we come back for the most fanatic fan. This is one of the best parts because all you got to do is just be energetic and you'll win. That's it. This is the Cal Football Countdown Show. We'll be back in a bit.
You bring your curiosity, your ambition, your spirit to Berkeley. To be an AI machine learning, twisting, turning, flipping, video game soundtrack performer. A student of human rights strengthening, sustainable architecting, quantum science pioneers. A member of solar car designing and racing, community-driven student farming, football team rousing communities. You bring your whole self to Berkeley to be a part of the greatest public university.
All right, we're getting ready to get on out of here in about 7 minutes, so we're not going to waste any time. People are filtering in. The sun is setting over the bay. One of the best views in all of the USA. Even if you come from North Carolina, you get to enjoy a little California sunshine. It's time for the most fanatic fan. All you got to do is show it, show your passion here on the Cal Football Countdown Show, and you're going to win prizes. This is the easiest path to victory, and I see so many good contestants. All right, let's see. We got some props over here.
Yeah.
We've got waivers of the signs. We've got
Someone's
Kendrick
pretending to read a
Raphael.
book.
We've got, that's playing nicely into Patrick Laird right there, reading the book. Oh, my gosh. Okay, let's see. I need to see sustainability.
Yeah, we need some.
Sustainability. Who's got a chant for me?
Go
Roll on, you Bears. Roll on, you Bears. All right, I think I have a nomination for me. But
there's a lot to
we
consider.
gotta
In my
discuss this
mind, we
one.
got to go with longevity, right? I've noticed a couple of these faces have been here a long time.
Yes.
That's important. I see smiles. I see people yelling. I see cool outfits. I love this hat. I love these hats over here. We got the celebration. We got jumping up and down. Oh, this is so hard to do.
Okay.
Greg, what are you thinking?
You know, I think, and you can have a disagreement with me, but
Okay.
I got to say, if we're going for the consistency and doing this over the stretch of seconds after seconds, I really like our guy Kendrick Raphael right here.
I love it. All right.
All right, what's your name? Henry. Congratulations to Henry, our most fanatic fan. Give it up. And by the way, just because we're shouting out Henry doesn't mean the rest of you aren't representing the Golden Bears well. This is fantastic. We are continuing to do these shows, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to do a little road one for Stanford, but I'm not going to get in trouble and say things that might not be in place. Bottom line is, we'll be there. We'll be hanging out one way or another, and I know Henry will as well. So congratulations to Henry right
Congrats,
there.
Henry. Yeah.
That is our most fanatic fan and our giveaway for today, and congratulations to Henry. We'll get ready to send it over to the Bud Light Tailgate Show with Justin Allegri and Mike Pawlowski and wrap it up. When we come back, this is the Cal Football Countdown Show.
You bring your curiosity, your ambition, your spirit to Berkeley. To be an AI machine learning, twisting, turning, flipping, video game soundtrack performer. A student of human rights strengthening, sustainable architecting, quantum science pioneers. A member of solar car designing and racing, community-driven student farming, football team rousing communities. You bring your whole self to Berkeley to be a part of the greatest public university.
All right, final few minutes here on the Cal Football Countdown Show. We'll be right back here when the clock hits 0. Greg Silver, Patrick Laird. It's been a fantastic 57 minutes. And by the way, congratulations to Henry, our most fanatic fan. That was brought to you by residents in Berkeley. Room to relax right here in Bear territory. And Henry wins 2 tickets to see the Bears take on Virginia the next home game. And here's the deal. We don't want to just have one prize. We had James for the Trivia Corner. We had our most fanatic fan. But we've also got one more task for you, Pat.
Okay.
Drawing a raffle winner right here in this bag for Heller Jewelers. All you got to do, draw the ticket, read the number, and we got another winner here before we send it over to Justin Allegri and Mike Pawlowski in the booth.
Okay, let's see who we got. Number 755022. 755022. Are they around? If they're not around, do we go on to another ticket? I guess so. Here we go.
Yeah, you got to be loud and proud when you claim it with these tickets.
Maybe yell "Go Bears" to announce yourself. 755018. 755018. We may have to continue this raffle drawing. Someone is going to win some free tickets as we wrap the show.
But another reminder for everybody, if and when you win those raffles or those prizes, make sure you make yourself heard so we can get you taken care of. Final couple of minutes here on the Cal Football Countdown Show, about 90 seconds before we send it over to the Bud Light Tailgate Show with Justin Allegri and Mike Pawlowski. This is a big one for Cal. It might not be a big one because of North Carolina's football pedigree or their record or how they fared in the ACC, but College Game Day last year, it was an incredible atmosphere, and the game ended in a heartbreaking fashion. Ron Rivera came by looking to change the tone, and Cal wants to send a different kind of message as well.
Right. Yeah, you talk about, some people say must-win games, can't lose games. I don't know which one this is. I just expect the Cal Bears to win tonight. I know everybody's excited. I trust that Justin Wilcox and co. and the leaders on this offense and defense, really this is a team full of leaders across the board, took the bye week seriously. They are going to help us get a win tonight here in Berkeley, California. So stoked to be here. I want to see everybody. I want to see more people every week on the Plaza. Let's keep this going. You know, there's guys at the top, like Ron Rivera and Chancellor Lyons and Justin Wilcox, but really the program cannot succeed without the fans. So thank you guys for coming out. Let's keep supporting. Let's keep supporting Cal football. Thank you guys.
Take it from a former player himself. That is just about going to wrap it up for us. Nice job getting through the first pregame show, but we get to continue this. We got postgame, all right? This is not going anywhere. Up next, we will send it to the Bud Light Tailgate Show with the voice of the Bears, Justin Allegri, and Mike Pawlowski. And we will be right back here after the game here on the Plaza for the Cal football wrap-up. Come by in person. Great energy, and we'll talk to you in a bit.
Go Bears.
On the California Golden Bears Sports Network from Learfield, Cal Bears football is on the air.
Buckle that chin strap, man. Let's go.
Foot race on the far side of the field. High stepping past the final man. On his way to the end zone.
Dropping back to throw. Steps up.
He's hit. He goes down.
We all belong right here, right now.
Brazil.
Touchdown, California.
Our best football wins today.
Cal Bears football is brought to you by Bart. Take Bart to the game. Let's go. Toyota of Berkeley. Nobody beats Berkeley. And by Barbasol Shaving Cream. Delivering a quality shave at an honest value for over 100 years. Now live, this is the Bud Light Tailgate Show.